I was listening to this French professor. He was talking about demographics. What's going on in the West? Well, it was just repeating, I suppose, information that I've heard, I don't know, 100 times already. Anyway, it was French, so I kind of took a listen because not often that I listen to stuff in French. So I thought to myself, you know what? I've listened about these statistics so many times, but only this time it was probably the way he phrased things. This time I thought to myself, hold on. The reason why people are, not worrying about demographics and not having children and, you know, doing what, every society actually has to do to continue and flourish and survive, it's because they have made money the center of their universe. I was like, okay, let's dissect this information. So people in this part of the world, we kind of worshipped natura naturans in the beginning, a long time ago, before the Abrahamics came along. We worshipped natura naturans. We just worshipped nature's doings. We thought of nature as being a provider, protector, a preserver. Nature was also a destroyer. So our culture was our rituals, our melite, our ritualistic life was about the worship of natura naturans. All of these festivals around seasons was for that purpose, to worship nature and nature's doings. And then the Abrahamics came along, right? Hijacked everything, gave it different names and everything, but it's still the same rituals. It's still the same worship of the seasons and the rhythm of life. Um, but there were others, that worship the sun. Not specifically the nature, but more the sun. They were more solar centered. So those guys, they made the sun the center of their universe, right? The pagans, quote unquote, they made natura naturans the center of their world, the center of their universe, which was more geocentric. I mean, they saw everything par rapport to Earth. They saw Earth as the center, and it's true. It's immovable and everything else seems to revolve around us. But then came others that worship the sun, and they came up with mathematics that could explain away that no, it's the sun, the center, and it's you that moves, not the sun, which is obviously bullshit. I mean, just look and see it's the sun that moves. And when everybody mentions the sun or the moon, they're like, yeah, the sun moves and the moon moves, and but I thought was taught in school about the heliocentric model, but everybody just without knowing, they just see reality for what it is, which is geocentric. But anyway, some people made the sun the central of their universe. The sun as a protector, provider, preserver, and a destroyer. It's true, the sun can be a destroyer as well. Without the sun, you would perish in a couple of weeks, you know, or if you're in a desert, the sun can be a destroyer, right? Or the lack of sun can be a destroyer if you are far, into the snow. So, anyway, those used to be the center of mankind. Well, now the center of the universe isn't natura naturans or the sun. No, now the center of the universe is money. People worship money as a god. Money used to be a tool that we came up with to help in our lives, but little by little, people started making money the center of everything. Now they worship it. So they start very young. Okay, I'm going to study. I'm going to get my degrees so I can have a nice salary. and I can buy everything. I can have the car, the house, the clothes, the watch, right? I can have the vacations. I can go ski. People became very, what's the expression? It's not jealous. It's self-centered, right? People became a bit self-centered. Okay, I'm gonna have fun. That's what most people thinks. And then when they arrive at 40, they are like, okay, I'm gonna have a child. I don't want to leave my stuff to the government, so I'm gonna have a child so I can inherit everything. That's probably what goes through their minds. But before that, they're going to enjoy their lives. They're going to ski. They're going to bungee jump. They're going to do some cave diving. They're going to, I don't know, walk the world, travel, go in parties, buy that car they always wanted. And they will have a job, a slave job, to make all those dreams come true. And family is just not included. You know, it's just not included. What isn't also included is that, for instance, I'm gonna get a piece of land and I'm going to have some animals, and then I'm gonna, extract some food from the soil, potatoes, onions, carrots. I'm gonna have some plants here and there to give me some fruits and legumes, tomato, I don't know, nuts, oranges. I don't know. They don't think in those terms. They think, okay, I'm gonna get a job and then I'm gonna buy everything. Yeah, I'm gonna buy everything. So they worship that god, money, in which they also slaves to that god. Without it, they are nothing. They live in boxes in some city, and they need that cash every month. They need that cash to survive. If there's a crisis, they'll be the first ones to suffer. I mean, people who have a piece of land and everything, they don't mind. They're like, oh, there's a crisis. Oh, things are getting expensive. Who cares? As long as I have some chickens, some eggs, some fresh legumes, I mean, I can always get by. But if, for instance, the price of eggs, goes up 30%, right? You're in big trouble. You start, okay. You see, when you buy everything already, you will pay a tax over that thing, right? And then governments, they love to tell you how to spend your money. This thing called inflation is just a tax to keep you poor. They taxes, and they have many, you know tactics to keep you poor, and they have you by the they have you by the they really by the bee. They really have you. No escape. You made, the center of your universe, this tool, this object, this thing that we came up. You made it the center. You became a slave to it. Yeah, that's the only thing you trust. People don't trust each other anymore. They only trust money, power that it can bring. And the more money you have, the more people you can control as well. That's why people wish to become millionaires. Well, some at least. Anyway, religion kind of helped areas of the world that are into objects and the acquisition of objects. Kind of help them be more family orientated. And we have to admit that the Abrahamic faiths are very family orientated. They are. And that's when the West kind of flourished. But the West now has this weird, philosophy of life. It's based on atheism, which is atomism. It's a religion of atoms. They think the universe is composed of these uh, small microscopic things that you can count and measure. and somehow they come together and form life. And also a bit of Gnosticism. Gnosticism is very nihilistic, very emotional and fatalist. It's also creativist. Gnosticism is also about creationism, like all the other Abrahamic religions. It's all about creationist and original sin and all those things. But at least they were a little bit, the Abrahamics, a bit turned to family. The Gnostics are not turned to family. They hate family. Um, the atheists, they might have one child so they can inherit their material possessions, you know, and that's it. And that's a little bit why areas of the world that are suffering from demographics, areas that value objects and acquisition of objects, and they've made money the center of their universe. Other areas of the world that don't share the same axiology, the same values, Africa, South America, South Asia, they don't have problem with demographics at all. They're just living their lives. So how do you fix this? Well, according to the numbers and statistics, which I don't believe, honestly, they talk a lot of shit. You can really fool people with numbers and statistics. They say that the um, the point of no return was like 40 years ago. Actually, we had to have four children, four children, 40 years ago. Well, now, if you want to, turn things around, each family ought to have 10 children. I'm like, that's probably right. I mean, just look around you. Everything is deserted. Everybody's focusing on cities. People who live in cities, their god is money. Money is the center of their universe. People live in the countryside. I mean, their center is a bit different. They're more into nature, you know, and farming and stuff. So they're still pagan forest dwellers. How to turn things around? Well, telling the truth could be one. Telling the truth about the castration drugs, the side effects that it causes on people. They give these castration products, to children. They're not even 18 when they start taking these castration drugs. It changes their behavior, it changes their hormones, it changes the pheromones, and people just become unattracted towards each other. It's true. People become repulsive. And then there's a small group of people that suddenly becomes the center of every attraction. It's the less than 10% that gets all the attention. Everybody else is just miserable, wondering what's going on. Well, it's probably those, you know, hormones that you take since you were a child that your doctor gave to you that are changing your pheromones and your behavior. This, by the way, is technology developed by the eugenicists, if you don't know. It was implemented in the 60s around the sexual revolution. They knew exactly what they were doing. This is about controlled population. They knew this was going to happen, you know. I mean, for people who enjoy and value objects above everything else, they want everything for themselves. They want more. The more they have, the more they need. So they always see that's too much people because they want more money, more of everything, and less for everybody else. It's an obsession. So seeing people kind of bothers them. So anyway, um, honestly, this is probably why the Greco-Roman civilization collapsed. It's the same thing. People get too materialistic. They kind of detach from reality, from family, and everything collapses with the collapse of demographics. That's the key. Demographics. The Relationship. What people are having is relationship issues. That's what's going on. It's relationship issues. Everybody's worshiping money. Mm. When people judge you, they're like, "What's your job?" That's one of the things they ask. What's your job? They are immediately judging you. Job equals how much money you earn, equals what type of life you have. They immediately start calculating. That's how materialistic people work. Anyway, I think I'm going to shut up now. Have a nice day.